Which is better, the Samsung Galaxy A71 or the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A71 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite. Now, first thing I want to mention, it is currently raining outside, so you can see that also on the weather here, but if you hear rain in the background, that's why you hear it. The next thing I want to mention is that these phones are actually not too far apart in price. So the Galaxy A71 is currently being offered for around $399, and the Galaxy Note 10 Lite is being offered for around $529. Now, I understand that's a $129 difference in price. But this is really the first time that we've seen a Note branded device, at least in a long time. I think there was also a Note 3 Neo, to my understanding, in the past. But this is the first time in a long time that we've gotten a Note phone at a starting price that's this low. And it really starts to get into the territory of Samsung's A series. So I know that many people have been asking for me to do a comparison between these two devices, and for a good reason, of course, because of the pricing, but also because the phones do look very similar in form factor, and they do offer many similar features. So let's dive right in. Now, I do want to mention that prices might have gone down since the time of me making this video, so certainly take a look at the links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for these phones over on Amazon. Now, both of these devices are GSM unlocked, so if you're in the United States, you are going to be able to use them with any GSM carrier like AT&T or T-Mobile, which is awesome. And then of course, if you're located internationally, your local GSM carrier will work really well with these phones as well. Now, both devices feature 6.7-inch Infinity O displays. So you probably noticed when I was holding the two devices side by side, they're essentially the same exact form factor. Even the bottom bezels are pretty much the same exact size. And in addition to that, both phones feature 1080p Super AMOLED displays, so both displays on these two devices look really sharp, really crisp and clear, with excellent colors. So Samsung's AMOLED technology is really awesome. You're able to get some great looking displays with that technology, and both of these devices are examples of that technology being successfully implemented. Now, both phones feature a PPI of 394, so a pretty impressive PPI overall, and you are getting a 20:9 aspect ratio with both devices. This is pretty standard for Samsung's A series in 2020, as well as their S series, and then of course, with the Note 10 Lite, we have it as well. But having that 20:9 aspect ratio is great for going on social media, for example, because you are going to be able to fit a lot more of your feed into the actual viewable space here. So that's really great. Now, as I mentioned before, both phones do feature hole punches for the front-facing camera, and both devices feature 32 megapixel front-facing cameras. So definitely check out my full review videos for both phones to get a really good idea of the kind of quality you should expect from these cameras. But here's kind of a side-by-side, and overall, it looks like the two phones do have different front-facing camera modules, so it's not like it's the same exact camera in both devices. And I'm basing that off of the fact that the images look different here in the viewfinder. So even though they're both 32 megapixels, that doesn't mean that they're the same exact camera. And like I said, check out my full review videos because I go really deep into the photo and video quality for both of these devices. That's what I recommend if you really want to get a good idea of the kind of quality that you really should expect. Now, both devices feature 128 gigabytes of internal storage with SD card expansion. That's really great to see. That's a lot of internal storage. And if it's not enough for you, of course, you can add a micro SD card. Now, you do not get wireless charging with either of these two phones, which is a bit unfortunate, but you do get fingerprint sensors built into the display. So we'll try this out first with the A71. And that was very quick, worked really well. And now we'll try it out with the Note 10 Lite. And worked really well too. So I believe these two phones feature the same in-screen fingerprint sensor technology, since it works about the same on both phones. Now taking a look at the rear of the two devices, we have the camera modules. Now there are some pretty major differences here with the two phones. So with the Galaxy A71, we have a 64 megapixel, yes you heard that right, 64 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up photos. And with the Galaxy Note 10 Lite, we have a 12 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 12 megapixel telephoto camera. So with the Note 10 Lite, we do not have the macro camera that we get with the A71. In my opinion, the macro camera is a bit of a gimmick since you can take very close-up photos with the main camera, but that's something that we can talk more about in a future video. So that 12 megapixel telephoto camera with the Note 10 Lite is actually a 2x telephoto. And from my experience of using the A71, since the camera does feature 64 megapixels for the main camera, cropping in at 2x pretty much doesn't take away from the quality of the photos. So despite the Note 10 Lite having a dedicated 12 megapixel telephoto camera at 2x, that feature is replicated pretty much just as well with the 64 megapixel camera with the A71. I know that technology of having a high megapixel count has especially been implemented in something that Samsung has doubled down on with the S20 series of phones that recently came out. So it seems like dedicated telephoto cameras are more and more becoming a thing of the past, but we do have it with the Note 10 Lite. So overall, I feel like you're going to get better looking photos with the Note 10 Lite compared to the A71, but not by much. So definitely the extra $130 that you're spending for a Note 10 Lite most likely is not going into improved cameras. Now with both phones, we do get portrait mode with both the front and rear cameras, of course. That's great. Even though the Note 10 Lite does not have a dedicated depth sensing camera, I believe that is built into the telephoto camera. So I'm completely fine with that. You're gonna be able to take great looking portrait mode photos with both phones. Now internally, both devices feature 6 gigabytes of RAM. And with the A71, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730 processor. Then, with the Galaxy Note 10 Lite, we have Samsung's Exynos 9810 processor. Now let me show you the Antutu Benchmark scores so that you can see how these two phones compare to each other. So here are the scores for the two devices. Now you can see here there are some pretty big differences. Clearly, the Note 10 Lite has a better Antutu Benchmark score compared to the Galaxy A71. So it's a pretty significant difference. I think it's definitely a noticeable difference. And later on in the video, I will be doing a side-by-side speed test comparison. And I think that will really show off the extra performance that you're getting with the Note 10 Lite. The most important thing that I think you need to consider with these two phones is that either device is going to give you really great performance. Of course, not up to a flagship level necessarily. The Galaxy S20 phones, for example, will give you around 500,000 as the Antutu score. But for the majority of people out there, these two devices will be plenty fast. Now, as far as video recording goes, with both phones, you get 4K video recording with both the front and rear cameras. So if that's important to you, then just know that both phones do have that feature. Now, both devices feature beefy 4,500 milliamp hour internal batteries, and they're also both 25 watt fast charging compatible. You also get 25 watt fast chargers included in the box with both devices. So really awesome that we do get really large battery capacities with both devices, but even better that you're able to recharge those batteries very quickly. And what's crazy to think about is that the Note 10 Lite has a significantly larger internal battery than the battery that comes with the Galaxy Note 10. Let's now talk about the software. Now, this part is pretty boring because both phones feature the same exact software. Of course, there's some little tweaks here and there for the Note 10 Lite since it does feature the S Pen, but both phones feature Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.0. And you do get a lot of really cool features built in. One of those, for example, is the Edge screen. So you can see with both devices, you do have the ability to put different apps in this Edge screen, giving you a lot more convenience to access them. But now that we've compared the specifications of these two devices, let's compare the hardware. Now I already talked a lot about the front panels here, and you're pretty much getting the same thing with both phones. Now, I don't know for sure if the display technology itself, beyond both phones having AMOLED, is exactly the same, but I would say looking at these two phones side by side, neither one stands out from the other. I do have both phones on full brightness with the display set to vivid, one notch to the left of the middle. So that's the way I have them on here, and both phones feature outstanding, really great looking displays. Now taking a look at the left side of the two devices, both phones feature the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card, and you're also getting a secondary SIM card slot too. So if you do want to take advantage of dual SIM, you can do that with either of the two phones. Now keep in mind that the side band on the A71 is made out of plastic, whereas with the Note 10 Lite, we do have a metal band running around the side of the phone. So I would say overall the Note 10 Lite does feel a bit more premium compared to the A71, but the A71 still feels like a very nice, high quality phone. Most people will probably end up getting cases for their devices anyway, and if you are one of those people, then the build quality might not necessarily matter too much as long as the two phones hold up over time. And since Samsung has a great reputation when it comes to quality, that's certainly not something you should really be concerned about. Now taking a look at the right side of the two phones, a near identical setup here. They both feature the volume button and power button. Then on the top of the two devices, they both have the noise canceling microphone. And then taking a look at the bottom of the two phones, both devices feature the speaker, the microphone, the USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. But with the Note 10 Lite, we are of course getting the S Pen. So if you are really into using a stylus with your phone, maybe you're upgrading from a previous Note device, then you're going to feel right at home, of course, by having the S Pen, and it's certainly a great feature, and probably one of the reasons why the Note 10 Lite is a bit more expensive than the A71. Now taking a look at the back side of the two devices, we have kind of a similar look, but a little bit different at the same time. Of course, the camera modules do look very similar, but with both devices, we are getting kind of a rainbow tint. So pretty nice overall, and both phones do look nice and classy, premium, and high-end. Let's now do a speed test comparison between these two devices. Let's start by pulling up the camera app. So 1, 2, 3, go. And the Note 10 Lite was quicker at pulling up the camera. Next, let's pull up Google Chrome. So 1, 2, 3, go. And the Note 10 Lite was quicker at pulling up Google Chrome. Let's next go over to Yahoo. So 1, 2, 3, go. It looks like it's about the same with both devices. Let's go to Engadget.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And the Note 10 Lite was quicker at pulling up Engadget. So looks like the ad did come up a little bit quicker though on the A71. So I'd say it's about a tie there. And you can see a side by side here of the display quality. So it does look like you're getting a little bit more of a warmer color with the A71, not too much of a difference though overall. And like I said, both phones do feature great looking displays. So scrolling, nice and smooth with both devices. That's really good. Of course, you're gonna have some catching up that happens, but overall, really good speeds with both phones. Let's go to this article. 1, 2, 3, go. And the Note 10 Lite was quicker at pulling up this article. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the difference of performance between the two phones as far as speed goes. But just know that with both devices, they do perform really well, and that certainly shouldn't be a concern of yours. Now, in my Note 10 Lite review, I will be going over the S Pen in a lot more detail, but here it is in case you're wondering. It does work really well, especially if you're into drawing, or maybe you like to take notes in that kind of way, then you're definitely gonna like the Note 10 Lite. Definitely a really awesome, lower cost alternative to the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus as well. So which phone do I recommend? That's pretty much the main question of this video. I would say that if you don't care about the S Pen, I would go with the A71. But if you do want the S Pen and you also wouldn't mind having better performance and slightly better cameras, then go with the Note 10 Lite. Either way, you're not gonna go wrong. It's really nice that these phones are both factory unlocked, so you are going to be able to switch from carrier to carrier really easily if you do want to do that. So I think you'll be very happy either way. But again, it really just comes down to price and if you're willing to pay the premium to get the Note 10 Lite. So definitely check out the links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for these two phones over on Amazon. And it's even possible that the Note 10 Lite might be a bit closer to the A71 in price at the time of you watching this video. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. This is Kevin here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.